Hey, what's up everyone? Mark Price here with DevSlopes.com, and today we're going to talk about Bootstrap. If you're already a Bootstrap expert and you know the grid system, you know how it all works, you can feel free to skip this video or the other Bootstrap videos, but we will be using Bootstrap in this course. And Bootstrap is the most powerful or popular HTML, CSS, and JS framework for developing responsive mobile-first projects on the web. Basically, in the past, you had to write a lot of CSS to get your mobile website to work on multiple screen sizes, lots and lots of work. Bootstrap handles that all out of the box for you. Very powerful tool. Tons of people use it. Startups, professional companies, everybody. I use it on all my projects. Some developers do not use it. They'll build their own frameworks, and there's some competing frameworks out there. But by far, Bootstrap is the largest, and most companies do use it. I think more people use it than don't use it because it helps your website get up and going super fast and looking really nice. So we will be using it. So click Download Bootstrap, and I want to show you a couple things here. You've got Bootstrap, the actual CSS file itself. Okay, that's the main grid system and all the core components of Bootstrap. It's just a CSS file. The second thing is the Bootstrap theme. It's bootstrap-theme.css, and this is optional. This is what gives the shadowing and the cool colors and all that stuff that makes your applications look beautiful. In fact, you could use the optional theme with Bootstrap and get a beautiful looking website up and going without doing any other crazy CSS, which is pretty awesome. And it's optional, but we will be using it. And lastly, Bootstrap has some cool features that some of the components in it can do with JavaScript. And so it has a JavaScript file as well that you can include. It's not required, but some of the components do require it. So I do recommend that you implement it. One caveat: if you are using the bootstrap.min.js file here, you do have to have jQuery because it relies upon jQuery. So with that being said, we're going to use this, and we're going to actually in our application use these CDN files here. We're not actually going to download them to the desktop. Now, don't do this in a professional live application. You don't want to do CDNs because it's going to make your page run a lot slower. But we're going to do it here so we can just demonstrate the power of Bootstrap. So what we're going to do is open up the terminal. Click here, terminal, not text edit, terminal. There we go. Okay, so let me make this bigger here, and I'm going to go onto my desktop and make a directory. We're just going to call this bootstrap-fun, cd into bootstrap fun, command K to clear, and we are in here. There's nothing in it right now. That's fine. And so let's go ahead and create a file here. Let's just call this touch, and we're going to say index.html. We're going to create an index.html file, and then I'm going to open this up in Atom by typing in Atom space dot and pressing enter. It's going to open up Atom, and it's going to open up our project folder here, which is exactly what we want. And there's index.html. Nice and empty, so let's go ahead and do some boilerplate, of course, doc type HTML, some boilerplate HTML here, and actually, okay, HTML and HTML, and just fill it out real quickly here. And yeah, I know a lot of you guys have autofillers. I do too, but I turn them off when I'm teaching so you can see exactly what I'm typing here. So body or Boyd, although I probably should use it if I can't learn how to spell. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and looking at this stuff here, let's just go ahead and grab them over. So I'm going to grab these CSS files here from the CDN and just paste them here into the link. Okay. Nice, a little bit long, but that's okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. They are there, living and breathing, and it likes going to the end. That's a long link file. Okay. So, and then we need the JavaScript file. Put that at the bottom of the body. It's always good to keep your scripts as much as you can at the bottom of the body for the sake of load times on your page. So that's the Bootstrap JavaScript file. Now, like I said, if you use that, you need to have jQuery. So I'm just going to type in jQuery CDN on Google, see what it gives me up here. Okay, jQuery core, that's what we want. And let's see, we'll just grab minified version here, and cool. Let's include this here. Actually, let's just save it. I'm just going to Command S and save it here. It's kind of being a pain. And I'll go ahead and put this here in our Bootstrap folder on the desktop, which is fine. I'm just going to copy this here. Okay, and then right above it, since it relies upon it, we're going to say script source equals jQuery, and I think that's all we need, right? Yeah. Okay, and then end the script. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got Bootstrap. We've got the optional Bootstrap theme. Those are CSS files. We've got jQuery, and then we've got the Bootstrap JavaScript file because Bootstrap has really cool functions and operations it can do, but it requires jQuery. So that's it. That's all you need to get going here with Bootstrap. What I'm going to do is just make sure we have no problems in our code. So I'm going to double click index.html, Command-Alt-J to open the console here, and there are no errors, so it looks like everything's good to go. Cool. So here we go with Bootstrap. So how it works is you can do all kinds of cool things, and this is just an overview, by the way. In the next video, I'll show you the grid system, but just a few little things you can do. For instance, is you know how you have a normal button that you might put on your web page here. So we might say, click me. Okay, and button. Let's make sure I'm going to save that and make sure it actually works in the index.html page here. Click me. As you can see, it is there, but it's ugly. It's standard HTML. It's kind of blah. So what we can do is we can add some styling to it by adding a class. So button class equals btn. So we're saying it's a button. This is a Bootstrap button type. And then we can say btn-primary, for instance. And I can refresh it. Notice how it's pretty in blue. You didn't have to do anything. Or if I say button.warning, I believe it is, it turns orange or yellowish. Button.default. Okay, so notice how just by changing classes, it is changing my component here. And this is important to understand because Bootstrap is doing a lot of things behind the scene, all this styling for you. So maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, how do I know how to use Bootstrap and where all this information is? Well, what you need to do is go to Get Bootstrap, okay? Getbootstrap.com. And we are going to expand this here. And I'm going to click CSS, okay? And if you look at the CSS here, it gives you all kinds of information about how it works. It's going to talk about the grid system, how you can implement that. If you scroll further down, okay, it talks about the different things that it styles for you. So it automatically styles headings for you all the way down to H6, okay? And it's just showing you different types of things you can do with Bootstrap using different tags and classes and things like that, centering, addresses. So if you want to get a good insight as to what Bootstrap can do for you, just go look at the Bootstrap examples here on getbootstrap.com/CSS, like a form control class, form group class. Notice how it's putting these nice lines around and all kinds of stuff, and they have code to show you how to do it. So for instance, see this form group, that's a Bootstrap class, input type, class is form control. All these things are available for you to look at. So for instance, if I did want an input box on here, like so, all right, I can just end the input here. Let's go back to our web page. There's our input box, right? And if I put a Bootstrap class, form-control, let's go ahead and load it up, refresh it. Now it's all nice and rounded on the edges, has a little bit of shading and stuff. It did go full scale, and we'll talk about that in the subsequent videos. But anyway, point is, if you want to get an insight as to what you can style with Bootstrap and what the pre-created classes are, go on to getbootstrap.com. You can also look at the components tab here, and it's going to show you all kinds of stuff you can do. Drop downs, how to do it, pop-ups, toolbars. I'm just scrolling through real fast here. Segmented control. It tells you how to do all these things, and it's so simple. And a lot of these things you can actually just copy and paste code, and we can actually use this right in React and other frameworks as well too. Angular, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can use Bootstrap in all of these frameworks. Very powerful tool. So that's Bootstrap, okay? Go onto the website, see what things you have available to you, what you can do. Look at all these buttons. All this stuff comes out of the box for you for free. You don't have to program this stuff anymore by yourself. So very powerful. This is what you need to run it. Again, it is Bootstrap CSS, and then the Bootstrap theme is optional, which gives the cool styling and colors and stuff. And let's just see what happens if we comment out the optional theme, okay? So this is what we got now. If I refresh it, notice how that shading went away on the click me button. Okay, so a lot of that theming and that cool stuff that you'll see with the Bootstrap theme will go away if you don't include it. I like to include it, of course, because it makes things look nice and pretty and very cool. There you have it. We've got Bootstrap, JavaScript, and the jQuery that it requires in order to be used. So that's Bootstrap. It's an overview of how it works, what it includes. I've also shown you the reference of where to go when you need to get help. It's very simply laid out, very easy to use. So that's it for now. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to use the Bootstrap grid system, which is the most powerful thing about Bootstrap. If you don't want to use Bootstrap themes and all that, make sure you're using the grid system, because that's where the real power of Bootstrap comes into play. But that's it for now. Mark Price at devslopes.com. And remember, to get your free live help, go to devslopes.com and click on chat room. I'm there all the time, as well as a huge community of other students.